Good morning. My name is Dan Spots on behalf of the Dalles Area Chamber of Commerce. Today is Thursday, May 21st, and it is unfortunately a sad start to our meeting this morning. We are missing a familiar face. Commissioner Phil Brady passed away Tuesday, primary election day. Uh, we are going to start a little bit different note this morning with a moment of silence for Phil. And in saying that, I also want to recall to memory two other community stalwarts. Becky Bailey, Barbara Bailey passed away within the past week and a half as well. It's been a tough week and a half. So let's have a moment of silence. And I will call us back into order in a minute here. I'm going to go off screen. Well, I know we all have our memories of Phil. And we don't have a date for the service yet. That the family is working to arrange that yesterday and today, so we should know more by the end of the week. With that, let's proceed, carry on. There's a big void in the community. Let's collectively work to fill that void in honor and memory of Commissioner Phil Brady. Our guest this morning, Josiah Dean, Small Business Development Center. Josiah is going to be talking about the SBDC, a topic near and dear to my heart because it was one of my areas of responsibility at the college many years ago. And it is a terrific service. Let's start with going around the table, organizational updates. Trish, I'll start with you, my upper right-hand corner. Go for it.
Good morning. Longtime chamber member. I still have connections to the original Wasco County Courthouse and the Fort Dalles Anderson House Foundation. I'm with Legal Shield, and I will put my contact information in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Trish. And let's go with Scott.
Okay, Scott McKay, volunteer for community circles of care, and just another comment regarding Phil, because I mean, I really got to know him more through governmental affairs, which was called back in a while, and I remember writing a letter of endorsement that he put in the voters pamphlet for the first time he ran, and just emphasizing the fact how civil and he was when a person came to speak at the barbecue back in those days, and how civil he was. He was never adversarial, and he just was looking for, answers from, better understand, I guess I would say. And then so, and then, like you mentioned, and Bill knows how valuable Becky was and in keeping the government, kind of leading the governmental affairs. So both of them will miss. And I tell you, with Phil, that's the only he he provided the only science lessons I got for the last 15 years, because he would always give a little science exhibit about the stars or whatever. And I kind of think, okay, Phil, can you hurry up, we gotta get through here. But he would always tell some science story from his science background. Anyway, thank you.
Phil was a astrophotographer. He'd been up to our place taking pictures and just amazing, always on top of science. And uh,
Yeah.
I'll turn it over to Bill and then we'll go to Philip. Bill, go ahead.
Yes, good morning. I also make a quick comment on Phil Brady, because when government affairs, as many mentioned, or Scott did, about being at the barbecue, Phil would show up, and at the time he was working for Norcor, and he would ride his bike over, and I mean, he was just curious about what was going on in our community, and while he spent most of his time out at Norcor working with the kids, he was just an inquisitive man and always interested in what was happening. And he started out a long time ago being, concerned about the community and supporting it 100%. For some that may not know, I'm Bill Lennox with I'm also part of the North Central Public Health District, which of course Phil was the primary county commissioner who represented that. And of course the Public Health District is devastated, as many people in local government and the community is, over this news. So anyway, I'll pass it on. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Philip.
Good morning, Philip Masher with Sotheby's National Real Estate. And I have so many amazing memories of Phil. He was actually the very first person I ever met in the Dalles, and almost my neighbor. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Otherwise, I'll start crying. But I put a comment about the Grand Dalles Music Festival in the chat that's taking place all through town this month, 29th through 31st.
Thank you for doing that, Philip. Yes, everyone, please feel free to put contact information, event information in the chat. Philip, thank you for reminding me about that. Turn it over to Corliss and then Leslie. Corliss?
Morning, everyone. Corliss Marsh. I too miss Phil. I mean, he was always teaching me something, so that was great. I'll just pass it on. Thank you.
Leslie and then Julie.
Morning, everyone. I'm Leslie Naramore, Executive Director of Mid-Columbia Community Action Council. And Phil was on my board. He was an officer on my board. And over the last year, getting to know him and getting to work with him was just absolutely a joy. I think that Phil approached everything with such a sense of curiosity that he could really be impartial about anything because he just wanted to know more. And I think that in government, that's something that's just so important. And he leaves a huge hole in the community. The one thing that I did want to share today is that we are starting a cooling supplies drive. It's starting to get warm outside. So we are looking for supplies that will be put into cooling packs and then distributed to our houseless community members. If you'd like to donate to that, you can drop things by the Gloria Center, and I will put a flyer for that in the chat here. Thanks.
Thank you, Leslie. Julie and then Tonya. Tanya.
I'm Julie Reynolds. I'm with the Fort Dalles Museum Commission and Historic St. Paul's Episcopal Church, with nothing really to report right now. My last interaction with Phil was when he worked very hard as a county commissioner to mediate between Fort Dalles Museum, actually it was more of a facilitation, Fort Dalles Museum and the Discovery Center, because the county decided that Fort Dalles should move out of their purview. And it wasn't a good fit. But Phil led us through some really good discussions. And in the end, it was decided, I mean, the Discovery Center couldn't take us on, and the museum didn't want to go. So we're still there. But Phil was so helpful in working that through.
Indeed. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Tanya, and then Liz.
Good morning, Tanya with Northwest Natural. I'm really glad we're taking some time to talk about Phil because he was a great man. And I first met Phil through the Chamber of Government Affairs when we had it at the barbecue. I know a lot of us back in those days are still on today. So that was always enjoyable. And he was always, I think my fondest memory of him outside of government was just, as you guys have already shared, just talking about the stars. And he would come up here to Ty Ridge, just not far from where I live. And he would talk about who owns what property so I can take more pictures, and let me share you some pictures that I have. And so I always enjoyed spring and summer talking about all the great photos he acquired and where he went and what everything was up there in the skies. He knew all the names and galaxies, and he's just going to be greatly missed. I've really enjoyed his presence and as everyone else stated, just the way he approached government.
Thank you, Tanya. Liz Wilbur.
Good morning, everyone. Liz Wilbur, Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation. We are also all employees of the Mid-Columbia Housing Authority, and Phil was the chair of the Housing Authority Board and just did an amazing amount of work for the organization. It's a very, very sad time for all of us over there. I didn't know Phil really well because I go to the other board meetings, but the last time I saw him, he was at the Cherry Festival on his float, rowing away, and just so happy. And the word that comes to mind when I think about Phil is joy. He just had such a joy for all things in life. The only thing that I really have today is I'm going to be putting a survey in the chat. We're going to be breaking ground on our Carson Community Land Trust model project here pretty soon, and that's affordable home ownership to people making 80% area median income or below, and that is 80% of Skamania County area median income, which is the highest area median income in the gorge. So that's good news for families. More people will qualify. So I'm going to put a couple of, I have an English and a Spanish survey I'm going to put in the chat. We're trying to ascertain interest in this project. So we're asking that people please share it widely. And I'll make sure my contact information is there as well. Anybody's welcome to reach out to me and I can talk more about the project. Thank you.
Okay, that's good to know. We'll look for those links, Liz, and share accordingly. Thank you for that. Before turning it over to Josiah, just a couple of recollections of my own. Phil was a very dear friend, and this has been tough, very tough. But two things I will note. We talked about Phil's interest in astrophotography and the stars. He built his own darn telescope, a Dobsonian, and was telling me the story of how that was developed. I believe it was a priest down in San Francisco, if I recall, and I really need to check that, who wanted to engage kids in astronomy, but magnifier telescopes, I can't remember the name of those offhand. I should know. Philip would know it offhand. It could spell it backwards. Are very expensive and heavy. But the priest developed something called a Dobsonian, which is a reflector instead of a magnifier. And they're cheaper to build. And Phil built his own out of a sonotube, which is a construction material. And you know, it's a great big thing, but it's not heavy. You can move it around and bring it in a car. And that's the type of, he did his own math on that. He did all the calculations. It's just amazing. Math teacher, among other things. The other one, his role as a county commissioner, and my recollection of him most recently in that regard, was following the ICE arrests in our community around Christmas. And there was a county commission meeting when there had been a city council presentation by some of the family victims of those arrests. And they also spoke at county commission, and Phil addressed them in Spanish as well as English, and telling them of the role of the commission, what the commissioners were able to do, what the limitations could be, but explained that interface of government and the public, and so gently and thoughtfully, and speaking in Spanish, and then, of course, giving the translation in English as well for his fellow commissioners. And it was just so thoughtful and so touching. And that's just one of a million examples of Phil Brady. With that, Josiah, take it away. Josiah Dean,
All right.
Business Advisor, Small Business Development Center, Columbia Gorge Community College. Go for it, sir.
All right. Thanks so much, Dan. So I'll try to be brief. It's a tough day today. So Oregon Small Business Development Centers, we're helping to build Oregon's best businesses. And I thought I'd start with one of our clients, if I can get it to work here. Just a testament to the work that we do here. And
sometimes we have problems with videos on Zoom, but let's give it a try here.
Yeah, and that looks like we are indeed having trouble.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move along. As you know, my name is Josiah Dean. I'm an advisor here with the Small Business Development Center. Formerly, I owned the Balch Hotel down in Dufur. Have since sold that, so my full attention is going to the Small Business Development Center, and thus here I am. So our Small Business Development Center is a part of the network for the state of Oregon, and the network gets funding from both federal and state areas. Our network covers the entire state of Oregon with 15 different centers. We also have a couple of extra options for us. The Capital Access Team, which helps folks get capital, as the name implies. And then also our Global Trade Center for folks that are doing international trade. So those are all part of our network. Now we have our offices here. We are the Columbia Gorge Small Business Development Center, and we are grateful for the help of the folks at Columbia Gorge Community College who provide us a place to be, as well as funding for our services. So we have offices in the Dalles on campus here. We also have an office in Hood River. We serve a tremendous amount of Oregon. So Wheeler, Gilliam, Sherman, Hood, and Wasco counties. So basically the mid-Columbia area on the Oregon side. So what do? Well, we've got all kinds of different things that we can help folks with, including business plan development. We do a lot of help with folks with their loan application packaging. So making sure that they've got a good package to present to the lenders. We also help folks with marketing plan strategies, working on hiring and managing folks' teams, navigating business regulations, as well as managing cash flow challenges. We do that through free one-on-one advising. That's our biggest impact on the community. We also provide information and resources, much like what I'm doing right now. We do training programs and courses. Additionally, we have community outreach, and we can even do customized training and economic development programs. And I'll talk a little bit more about all of those different things here in just a moment. So this is the staff of the SBDC, Director Greg Price, and then myself, and then we have three other advisors, Jeff, Caston, and Amanda. We do a lot of work in person, but also through Zoom. So let's talk a little bit about the impact of the SBDC here in the Columbia Gorge. We've facilitated over $3 million of capital infusion into businesses, whether that's folks putting in their own money or getting loans. or getting assistance from either an angel investor or anything like that. We've had 35 capital transactions, and coincidentally, those are all in rural because this area is all rural. So that is one of the things that we do. We've facilitated 11 business starts and created 46 jobs. This is for 2025. We've done 25 trainings, which include 111 training attendees. 70 of our clients we call long-term, and that means that we see them more than 5 times. Just over a third of our clients are pre-venture, so we help them open their business, and then 63% are existing businesses. Our impact includes 235 total clients, so that difference between long-term and total clients. Sometimes we get somebody that just signs up, asks a question, we answer it, and they go on their merry way. So that accounts for a lot of our total advising clients. Again, 98% are rural, so we actually do help people from Portland on occasion if we have special assistance for them. An interesting observation is that 59% of our clients are women. We see a lot of women starting businesses, and we really enjoy helping them as well. So let's talk about the training programs and courses. So 3 different areas. We've got business essentials workshops, QuickBooks series, and our small business management courses. So our business essentials workshop includes starting a successful business, Excel, fundamentals of business financials, branding and marketing, and then planning your business transition. So we have these, most of them are about an hour and a half, and each of these workshops are about $25 each. We charge that just to make sure people show up. That's kind of a nominal fee. And if people need help with that, we can help reduce that cost. But as you can see, it takes you all the way through the business cycle. From starting a business, we have folks come in with great ideas, work with them to tell them how a business actually works, and then just all the fundamentals of making that work between finance, branding, and then just some of the tools. But we even help folks plan their transition out of their business. The other big training opportunities that we provide are for QuickBooks. So we've got a 3-class series that introduces folks to the basic bookkeeping principles, work with them to get their QuickBooks set up correctly. A lot of times folks with QuickBooks think they know what they're doing, but they haven't set up their accounts correctly, so they're not getting good information. And then we also provide help with them to do their daily keeping up with their books on a regular basis. And then finally, we have our small business management courses. These are 9-month courses. We meet for 3 hours once a month. And then we also do the business advising as a part of that. We have a general small business development, small business management course starting this fall. And then we actually have a specialized course for restaurants. So we're helping restaurant owners to make sure that their business is running as efficiently as possible. Both of these courses, we bring in folks from the community who have expertise in the various areas of business, whether it's legal, taxes, marketing, bookkeeping, all of those different topics we do, again, for 3 hours a month for 9 months. So that's been an important part of our community input. And then finally, we partner with different groups in the area. We work with McKed a lot. Again, that loan packaging, we work hand in hand with the folks at McKed so that when the folks go to McKed for a loan, they have something that's worth looking at. And then a big partnership that we have is the Gorge Pitch Fest, and that's through Mid-Columbia Innovation Hub. Just wanted to shout that out. You all probably know about it, but coming up on Thursday, May 28th, we're going to be at the Granada Theater giving away, I think the top prize is $10,000. So a very important part of our community, helping folks get things started. And so that is all that I have. I was quick. Any questions, I'm happy to answer.
And Josiah, you didn't need to rush. I mean, we've still got time on all of this. And the SBDC has been around a long, long time. I remember Bob Cole being the director. He was the first director I met there, and it was probably before that even. You know, you hear the how the first 3 years of starting a business are the toughest, and so many of them fail. Lack of information, lack of support, guidance, and that's SBDC does so much to address those. Questions for Josiah around the table?
Just one question that, or comment maybe, is that speaking of small business development and Bob Cole, I think Rita and I were at one time thinking about opening up a toy store. And one of the advantages of Small Business Development Center is that they can tell you how crazy that idea is and say, have you thought about how much you have to sell to make a profit? And I thought that was tremendous. That was great advice from Bob at that time, because it we avoided losing a lot of money. So I don't know if Joshua has those experiences or not, when someone comes in with an idea and you really bring them back to reality.
Yeah, that's one of the most important things that we do. And actually, that reminds me of my first interaction with the SBDC was when I lived in Southern Oregon, and I had this grand plan to open a hotel in Grants Pass, and went into the SBDC. And I'll never forget, Rick Leibowitz was his name. He actually worked up here. He was across the desk, and he looked at me and he goes, "That's a horrible idea." And I'm like, "No, man, you're supposed to help." And he's like, "Nope, nope, nope. Go get a job, go make some money, and then maybe you can do this." So yeah, that's a lot of times just gently showing folks, if you're selling a $4 product at a storefront, you're going to have to sell a lot of those $4 pieces. So yeah, that's one of our most important things, is keeping people from doing business.
I had a similar experience with Bob Cole years and years ago. I can't remember what my idea was, but I'm glad it didn't happen. Julie,
Do you have any idea how many people are able to go ahead with their ideas and establish a business, and how many people walk away afterwards?
Well, we don't track the people that we don't help. So that's kind of a hard one. But you can kind of you kind of get a sense of that. We've got 235 clients, and of that, 37% were starting their business. And so, but then only 11 actually started them. So yeah, about a third actually, folks. And it's hard to say that they don't come back to us because they're doing fine, or yeah, they decided to do something else. But it is a pretty regular, especially now. Actually, want to just kind of talk about one of the things that we're seeing here as the economy turns down. We're seeing a lot of folks. We get referrals from WorkSource Oregon, and folks that are, just the other day, somebody came in. I've applied 100 different places, and they want to start their own business, and so if they have a good idea, and a lot of them do, my boss does it, but I think I can do it better, is, the biggest thing that we get. And so as times get tougher, we're starting to see more people that have no other course but to start their dream and make it work. So yeah.
Trish, you have a question.
Actually, I have a comment. I have, with what I do with Legal Shield, I work with small business owners, and I have recommended small business owners to SBDC for a number of years, because I believe in what you guys do. And so now with my Legal Shield business, we have legal plans for business owners, but there's a lot of things that attorneys aren't going to be able to help, but referring to SBDC is the best thing. And I've had referrals from the SBDC up here in Anchorage. It's just great organization, and people, it's surprising that people don't know about it. And what you guys do is excellent. So you're my main referral when I start talking to new business owners.
Wonderful. Yeah, we call ourselves the best kept secret, which is really not a compliment. So here I am promoting us all out. So
that's what we have to do. Just keep reminding people over and over. Bill, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do. I think it's a wonderful program in the sense that, so many people, myself included, you think about business that you want to maybe or should be or why not and so the whole idea is, do you offer classes periodically to just go over what some of the basic requirements would be for a person if they wanted to start a business?
Yeah,
And
that's,
yeah.
yep. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and get the word out, so the community really knows that, just to be able to come up and process an idea, I think is just would be so helpful. I to be perfectly honest with you, I wonder how a business survives. You go into a place and you look around and you see what they're selling and you think, holy mackerel, how many of these things, just as you mentioned, does a person have to sell to be able to support themselves and their employees and turn on the lights? So yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we actually do have that class that I offer every term, starting a successful business, and that's the core of it. Just kind of going through, here are the steps,
yeah,
here's the list of things that you need to check off before you can actually be a business. And one of the biggest things that we teach, try to instill in people, a lot of times people come and they're like, oh, I love, baking cookies. I want to start a cookie business. And I'm like, well, yeah, baking cookies is good. You can do a lot of that. And if you really enjoy that, you want to bake cookies. If you want to have a small business, that's going to be a third of your time. The other
yeah,
2/3 are going to be financing and marketing. And they're like, well, I don't want to do that. I'm like, then you don't want to have a business. So, yeah,
very, very smart.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, but
cool.
yeah, we get lots of folks in that class. And that's, again, where I see a lot of folks that are, oh, well, maybe I'll start a business because I can't find a job. And again, some of them turned into great businesses.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The video that I didn't show was Rebel Metalworks that took our small business management class and attended every class and took notes and did his homework. And now he's got a very successful business looking for a new building. So yeah.
Josiah, I know, of course, with the video, you have permission from the business to share. I think an important aspect is the confidentiality issue of business counseling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
folks that come to you, they you keep you don't spread the information about specifics.
Exactly. Not specifics.
Unless authorized. Yeah.
Yeah. The general stuff, and there was somebody literally who had a $4 product, and I was just like, let's do the math. How many of those you need to sell and bring it back? So, yeah, confidentiality, because we do need to work with people, their tax reports, all of their financials, just kind of digging into the business. So we do take that seriously, and keep confidentiality as an important part.
We mentioned before the meeting started about a restaurant that seems to be struggling. That seems to be a really tough business in the best of times. Are there particular challenges that you see now in restaurant management? And I think you mentioned that you've got resources, expertise to bring to bear on that.
Yeah. So we have a specific small business management course for restaurants. And yeah, it's an interesting challenge. And again, it's that same thing. You love to cook. I remember a quote or years ago, a book I was reading, and they said, oh, you love to cook and you love to entertain. Well, if you start a restaurant, you're not going to be entertaining anymore because every day you're going to be welcoming people in. So, yeah, it's a unique time. A lot of businesses are still thriving, but the uncertainty and the chaos of today's world makes it really difficult. The increase in food carts is an interesting development because it does reduce the amount of capital that you need and overhead to get folks started. And yet, I don't know how many food carts you've been to, but many of them, the folks are just sitting in their cart, waiting for customers and not necessarily lining them up. So, yeah, each business is unique.
You were funded partly through the college, partly through the state, and the state is in turn funded, I believe, at the federal level.
Exactly. Yep.
So let's talk about federal funding. What's on the horizon there? Does the SBDC itself have any challenges?
Well, when the axe was cutting with Doge and all of that, our biggest concern was actually the community college. SBA has a very strong presence in the national world, and so that was never at risk. Our biggest challenge was the college was worried that they weren't going to get the funding that they needed to help support us. And so, but yeah, the Small Business Administration, really a powerful resource on the national level. So yeah, we kind of dodged a bullet there.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yep.
In the bi-state region, a challenge we often have extending services across the state line. And from a federal level, I think it's a little bit easier, but at the state level, it becomes a challenge. Or do you have constraints? Somebody starting a business in Dallasport or White Salmon or something. Is that door open at all to counseling, or is it a referral basis, or how does that work?
Yeah, Washington has their own SBDCs. They don't have as robust presence in these rural counties, but there are services available in Washington. But that is something that comes up a lot. Had one client that was, based out of the Dalles, and then they needed a bigger facility and they bought something across the river. In cases like that, we keep with the client because they were with us before. And a lot of our clients also, have their base in Washington, but do most of their business in Oregon. So, but yeah, if somebody comes to us from Washington, we just say, here's the resource in Washington to help you out. So.
Okay, great. I think that's Yakima, Vancouver.
Yeah, I think it's Vancouver. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. Other questions around the table for Josiah? Josiah, you have a physical space at the college, but a lot of the classes are virtual.
Yep, yep. We do kind of a balance between the virtual and the in-person. For example, starting a small business, we do in person because it's really important to have somebody sit down with us and look them eye to eye and see what their plans are. But things like QuickBooks we do online, and Excel classes we do online as well. And having said that, we also get, because it's a live online class, we get a lot of folks from the Oregon coast, because Greg is also the director of the Oregon Coast SBDC. So we're able to stretch our influence through the online classes.
You mentioned in your percentages, you have some businesses coming in from the metro area. As I recall, going way back when, the SBDC in Portland actually had fewer clients, literally, than Columbia Gorge SBDC, because people, it's a jungle in Portland, and you talk about not knowing about the SBDC. If you're trying to start a small business in the Burnside district, how do you know that there is an SBDC out of, what is it, PSU, or I don't know what the PCC, I guess.
Yeah, there's a couple of them in the Portland Metro. Mount Hood Community College has one, and then yeah, I think it's PSU that covers most of the city. Yeah, the clients that we picked up from the city actually came through our QuickBooks online class, because again, it's a great resource that not a lot of other folks do, having an in-person class like that. So again, if there's if we have a reason to keep them, we will. But normally what will happen is they'll reach out to us and we're like, well, you go talk to your local center for multiple reasons. Yeah.
There used to be something called SCORE, Service Corps of Retired Executives. Is that still around?
It is. Yep. Yep. Yeah. And so we get a lot of folks that work with them as well. That's a great resource. Now that you mention it, that's something we should be referring to. But yeah, I have a bunch of clients that use them.
Cool. Questions for Josiah? Josiah, I know you kind of rushed your presentation. Anything that you didn't cover that you'd like to go into more depth on?
Well, the questions actually covered pretty much everything that I might have skipped. My apologies. When I get nervous, I speak fast. So.
Well, we unfortunately we had a tough beginning on this one, Josiah, and I appreciate your accommodating that. And the plus the video. I don't know what it is about video and Zoom. There seems to be some glitch, and Lisa and I have struggled with it before often. And whether it's a YouTube link or something else, it just there tends to be a technical glitch there, and we need to. That's on our end, and we need to work on that. So we will continue to try to figure out the technicalities there.
Yeah, now I'll kind of go in, talk about some of the things that I personally am involved with, not necessarily with the SBDC. There's an organization called the Gorge Stewardship Alliance, formerly the Gorge Tourism Alliance. Yeah, so I'm the treasurer on that organization. And then I work a lot in South Wasco with the South Wasco Alliance and helping. I'm based out of Dufur, and so I'm kind of in between South Wasco and North Wasco. So.
Oh, good. Familiar with both of those. Scott, you have your hand up.
This is when Phil would be asking 3 more questions as we go through this. But just having been a business owner yourself in the Balch Hotel, does that help you? How does that help you serve the clients that you're dealing with? And is that common for a small business development coordinator to be a former business owner?
So yes to all. It's been very helpful because I can, I can share whatever I want. I don't have to be confidential in my own right. So yeah, it's really helpful. All of our advisors have small business backgrounds, and so while it's not required, it is really important. But part of so the requirement to be an advisor, you need to either have a master's degree or 10 years as a small business owner. And so I have both of those, so I'm qualified, but our other folks have one or the other. So, running a small business really is a good precursor for being an advisor because lots of stories, and again, I ran the Balch was a hotel, a restaurant, a gift shop, a bar. And so I can relate to a lot of folks, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. So relate to a lot of folks. That's one of the things that, as we're talking here, one of the things that when I'm talking to people about the viability of their business, a lot of folks are like, well, I've got this friend in Portland that's doing this project. And I'm like, you realize that a square mile of Portland is more population than the entire gorge, and so that's one of our biggest things is recognizing that it is rural, and that the numbers just aren't quite there.
Bill, you have a question.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, I keep thinking about the businesses that need a physical location, but how about all the businesses that people might come to you about that are virtual? Like I got this idea. Are you prepared to advise people about setting up, let's say, online kinds of businesses also, or is it mainly having to do with, physical location kinds of things?
Yeah, we get a few people that want to do online businesses. One of the biggest things that when people talk about that, you're not rural anymore. Now you're in the middle of the world. And so always looking at what makes your product unique, that somebody from the Philippines can't be doing as well. So
yeah, good point.
Yeah. It's some of the biggest things that we do with online is that if you are a bricks and mortar or even out of your home, you still need to have an online presence, whether that's just a simple, website that's just a brochure or something interactive. Yeah. And one of the bigger parts of that is, being Google Business, Apple Business, Bing Business, all of those, encouraging people and showing them how to make that work. Basically all of those are just like, here's what you need to do, fill it out, make sure it's all consistent. So.
Well, I just have to say, just this little bit of conversation we're having this morning has been really informative for me. So, I mean, it just helps put things into perspective when it comes to imagining any businesses or what it has to go through. So thanks for being here, really, and having the opportunity. I just keep thinking always how many people are missing this information. And I know that it would be important for them to know about it, So I guess we could just, all of us, me, have to keep telling others that we know, God, if you got an idea, run it by the SBC,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, there are a couple of things. One of the things, a lot of people that come to us are just amazed. They're like, "This is free? Oh my goodness!" And
there you
and
go.
those are our long-term clients that they come back. I get people that make an appointment and they're just like, "Yeah, I just need a business coach. I need somebody to help me just keep on track." We'll work out a business plan, and then just every month they'll come back. Or got one client I've worked with for years. I just go over her quarterly reports, make sure she's on track and doing the right things. The other thing, and I was talking to Dan about this before we started, with the challenge, sometimes we get people in too late, right? So they've been doing a business and then business down and they're on the way out. And they come to us and they're like, "What can I do? What can I do?" And it's like, well, yeah, it's a little too late. You should have come to us a year ago. So, yeah.
And Philip, I don't know if that was a group chat or not, but that was a restaurant I had mentioned previous to the meeting. It's not in the Dalles, and going back to the confidentiality issue, did not name the restaurant. So I've reached out to them to make them aware of SBDC, and I hope that they find out about it and follow up.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And related note on that one, SBDC does produce a newsletter, and I happen to have access to the mailing list. So if people would like to subscribe to that newsletter, it goes out, Josiah, what is it, like 4,000 people or something? It's a pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think we're over 4,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So that goes out about once a month and talks about upcoming classes and also some of the other stuff that's going on, like Gorge Technology Alliance and McKed. And, that's a really cool aspect of SBDC, because you do have that partnership with McKed, Mid-Columbia Economic Development District. They have their own loan fund through the National Scenic Area originally, and then Business Oregon and all of the other resources that can come to play in terms of financially helping a business get started. So, and you were the focal point, the nerve center to bring those resources to bear.
Exactly. Yeah, they want to see that folks know what they're getting into instead of just asking for money. And I want to encourage people, Dan, as you know, with the newsletter, we're always looking for things to include. So if anybody has a community kind of event, business related, reach out to Dan and he'll make sure it gets on the newsletter.
Other questions for Josiah? If not, 10 minutes till. I can always give people 10 minutes of their day back. Are we okay with that, folks? All right. With that, everyone, carry on. We'll see you next Thursday, and have a good rest of your week and weekend. And as Michelle and I learn more about services for Phil, I will send a note out to the group on screen now, just so we can kind of keep folks informed. I know it's important, and I'm going to do
I have one more comment.
Yeah, Bill.
Yeah. And I want to just thank you, Dan, for keeping the ship afloat. And I know that now one thing maybe I missed it coming on, but of Lisa's retirement. So there are going to be some changes, I presume, with the chamber, and I hope we can weather that storm. And you're willing to stay on board as that transition happens too.
So, Bill, you're catching me flat-footed on that one. Lisa is retiring.
Yeah, I saw a notice in through the social media that she is. She turned in her resignation, but I don't know when, how or the details at all.
Isn't the end of June?
Oh, okay. Then you know more than I do at this point. I just saw the
Just
notice
from
that
Facebook.
she's, oh, just from Facebook. Yeah. So
Don't you-
anyway, sorry, Dan. I thought you'd be.
You know, social media, I'm an old newspaper guy. I don't like
Yeah.
social media. Obviously to my detriment. You know,
Uh-oh.
okay, I'll dig myself out of the fossil bed sometime and subscribe to social media.
So
Anyway,
I
well,
That's on me for not knowing that, obviously. Thank you.
yeah, you're
I can
welcome.
interject some updates on that.
Tonya, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so Monday, the press release went out Monday, and it should have been all in your email boxes, I believe, from the chamber. But if
I
you didn't get
didn't
that, I'll see if I can find it forward. But they do have a plan. It's the board's going to transition with Lynn, who is been on board and working there already. I think her last name's Cox. Anyway, she's been at the chamber for quite some.
Yeah.
Cox, is that correct?
Lynn
Yeah,
Cox.
so she grew up here as well, worked at Intel for years and years and years, moved back here, started working at the chamber. And so the board's going to have her become the director once Lisa retires. And you're right, it is going to be happening in June.
Okay.
So I will see if I can find that email and share.
Well, I'm going to be in the Dalles this afternoon. Sounds like I better stop by the chamber office and figure out what's a little bit more background, I think, on that one. Thank you. Thank you all. Good to know. All right, everybody. On that crazy note, darn, there's another loss. Lisa, come on. You've been chamber director for 15 years? Something like that. Okay. All right. Let's take it in stride.
18 years.
Yeah.
And I think she said 14 years. Actually, and I had the opportunity, I was on the board at the time and of interviewing the chamber applicants. And so I told her, I said, I have to go to the retirement party because I was on the board that helped hire you. And that was 14 years ago. And then 4 years prior to that with the Pendleton chamber. So a total, I think, of 18 years is what she had said.
Yeah.
So I did find the press release, and I can, if I don't know if that I'm quick enough to get this into the chat.
Oh, I'll hold the meeting open. Don't worry about that.
Okay. It's just my skill set in this area is not probably as good as everybody else's.
Oh, join the party. I'm looking
see.
at the controls here. There should be.
It looks
here
like
it is. That little square rectangle box with the corner down on it. It says file.
Okay, and it looks like it came on the 19th. So it came at 6:13 a.m. on Tuesday morning is what my inbox, I believe, shows.
I didn't get it.
Okay. Oh, golly. Let me.
Yeah, I didn't. That's one thing I try to be good about is tracking my email, and I did not see that. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see that either. I did see it on Facebook,
Yeah, that's the
but
only
I
place
didn't see an
saw it.
email.
yeah, so Tanya, the file icon should allow you to access a file on your computer or just a website URL, anything like that you can drop in.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm under pressure now and I'm not
Oh,
performing very
Tanya,
well.
hey, Tanya, I'll tell you what, I will track it down.
I
and
can
I'll
email
send
it to you directly, Dan.
Okay, email it to me and I'll send it out to the larger
Okay.
community affairs group.
That takes the
because
weight
that's
off
news
of my
that-
shoulders. Thank you.
That's news that people need to be aware of. So yeah,
Okay.
just email that to me and we'll
Okay.
take it from there, Tanya. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, you guys.
All right,
Thank
everyone.
you.
With that, enjoy the rest of the week. Okay, no more bombshells in this meeting right now. I'm going to close it off. All right. See you next week.
Thanks.